Hello, and welcome to Of the People. I am Robert Chernin with my lovely co-host, Ericka Redic. Say hello, Ericka.
Hello, Robert. How are you this fine, fine day?
I am fine. By the way, I did learn that the two words that when a woman says, I know we're going to start off with sexism, when they tell you fine, they're not, or whatever, right? So, I mean, those are the two words. If I've learned nothing in 30 years of being married,
Mm,
it's fine and whatever are
mm,
neither. But we'll get into that.
agreed. But
We'll
this
get into
today, normally you can pretty much count on me to say what I think. That is one thing about me. I will not say fine unless I'm actually fine.
and neither Ben nor I will believe you. But let's move on from that. So, folks, thanks for joining us. Want to let you know our podcast and radio show is up on Podbeam. So wherever you download your podcast from, Podbeam, Google, Amazon, Apple,
iTunes,
iTunes,
Spotify.
Spotify, we're on them all now. We're thrilled to be there. So don't forget to get us into your stream, or what's the correct terminology?
You wanna
Download.
you wanna
You want to
yeah, you wanna like, share, subscribe on all the things, but also get the download and definitely give us a 5-star review or else we'll come break your knees.
and
Okay?
if you
So
can't
go
give us
ahead,
a
put that.
right, and if you can't give us a 5 star review, send us some comments and tell us why. Well, you're only 4.5, and here's why. In any event,
Any
Erica,
event.
where's the
Yeah.
outrage? So again, I
Um,
scanned the news, and before we go on, stay tuned. Segment two, we're gonna cover in segment two. What are we covering? China is in the news again,
oh
and
my God.
China Joe Biden, right? Segment two. Stay tuned for segment two, right? And segment three, we're going to cover go woke, go broke,
All
and
right.
keep your foot on the gas. So,
I
anyways,
got my seatbelt buckled. I'm ready to go.
latest outrage. So I just found out that in 2021, the federal government, the FBI in particular, FISA, there were 278,000 unauthorized warrants that the FBI used without FISA approval. Now, FISA, folks, is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, right? And the FISA court, FBI is supposed to go get approval. They petition the court, they present evidence, you get a warrant. That's the way it works, right? And
Right.
remember, FISA was passed to monitor foreign individuals who may have influence in the United States, and you're not supposed to spy on U.S. citizens without cause, and this court is supposed to be the protector of that.
Right.
278,000 times in 2021, the FBI spied on Americans without court approval.
How is that? How? How?
Um,
Did you wait?
Because they,
Hold on. 270,000?
no, 278,000. This
Oh my
came from,
God.
yeah, this is, by the way, you know what this is, right? This is big T. Trust the government. Hi, it reminds me of that old
Big tech.
expression, right? Hi, I'm from the government. I'm here to help you, right? That's the
What did
scary part for
Reagan
me.
say? Those were like the world's scariest words or something like that.
I am channeling
It's-
Ronald Reagan. But
all
what's your
right.
opinion on this? So the FBI, right? Which now, and again, we're still playing off the Durham report
Mhm.
and all the errors and certainly political decision making without proof, without vetting that they did in the Durham report. It now turns out unrelated, by the way, to the Durham report. 278,000 times the FBI spied on Americans without court approval.
To be honest with you, Robert, I wish I could be outraged, but I'm not at all surprised. When I knew back in the Bush era that the Patriot Act was going to be a serious, serious problem. And this idea that you could create a system where, oh, it's okay if we spy on foreign nationals and all these Americans just happen to accidentally get hemmed up in it. We promise we won't do anything about it. we promise we won't do anything with the information. Like, no, we as American citizens gave the United States government permission to spy on us, and they took it. And then they did illegal stuff.
And then they ran with it.
Of course. Of course.
Now, I'll give you one other statistic and number, right? In 2021, there were 3.4 million applications to FISA. In 2022, now remember everything that happened in 2021, right? In 2021, it was January 6th. It was all the protests.
Yep.
It was, it was election integrity, questioning the election, all these things. It dropped from 3.4 million to 300,000. And actually, let me get my numbers because I know somebody's going to challenge me on this. It dropped.
Wait, what?
So 204,000. So the FBI and other federal bodies made 3.4 million applications to FISA to spy on Americans in 2021. 204,000 in 2022. So how do you drop, right? So now FBI Director Wray said, well, based on the FISA report, and by the way, this is a report released by the court itself.
Wow.
So this isn't a third party. This is the FISA court released an opinion, and it came out, and I want to say August of 2022. It's just been released now, right? I think last time I checked, it's 2023 sometime along the way.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
The federal court, the FISA court itself said, here are the instances of application. Again, you go from 3.4 million to 204,000 in a year's time differential. Why the difference? And then, by the way, here's 278,000 times you, the FBI, used an unwarranted search for records on Americans.
Oh my God,
this isn't,
Robert.
If deep state, police state, administrative state, whatever you want to call it, it's just wrong. And again, media doesn't cover it. Where's the outrage?
Nope. It is outrageous to me. This is exactly what we're talking about when we say we need to drain the swamp. We need to get rid of the administrative state. Okay. Remember do you remember, Robert, a few weeks ago, you read that finding, was it from the DOJ from the 80s that said a patriotic American is like the most dangerous thing that there is, or something like that?
Department of Justice. Correct.
Yeah. So they have decided that if you are an American with American values, that you are a danger to who? To who?
Well, to the government. Right.
That's right. To the government power and the government overreach. So over and over and over again, we're hearing about the IRS being weaponized about American citizens. Who was it? Matt Taibbi. As soon as he started the Twitter files, working on the Twitter files, all of a sudden he's got an IRS audit opened up on him. Literally the day that which one was it that dropped?
Taibbi was testifying before the House subcommittee,
That's
I think,
what it
on
was.
weaponization. That day, the IRS shows up at his door as he's testifying.
They
Ericka,
opened.
do you believe in coincidences? I don't.
No. And this is like, and all of a sudden now the IRS is doing field visits. Okay. So we said,
are those guys with or without, wait, with or without guns?
With weapons. Remember last year, they wanted to appropriate for 87,000 new IRS agents, and they were training them with weapons. And all of us conservatives were like, hey, this is bad. And now they're just showing up at your house.
You know why they're training them with weapons, right? Because if it's the one thing the government wants to protect, is its ability to maintain its flow of money, right? You talk about
right.
Drinking from the teat of power, right? The spigot of power. Well,
that's right.
Government runs on money, and they want to make sure that you're paying them the money that you owe them. I mean, I wish I lived in like the 1900s, like before income tax. Think about how nice that would be, right?
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Robert, this is outrageous. Outrage.
Did we push your buttons today?
I'm not fine anymore. I'm not fine anymore. I'm outraged.
Where's the outrage? Well, folks, Ericka is outraged. So let me. All
I'm
right, so
outraged.
look it up yourself, folks. Don't believe me. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Let's move on
Yep.
though, because there's a couple other things under our WTO segment.
All right.
And guess who's back in the news? My girlfriend. I have so many, right? Randy
Hobbit.
the Hoppin' Hobbit, Randy Weingarten. Turns out that there was the Freedom Foundation just uncovered, and again, I got to figure out all these words. That there is something called what is that called? It's called the union release time. So union release time is something that the federal government put in place with the unions, that even when you're in the union, you're teaching, then it's like, think of it like a leave of absence. You still accumulate pension time and money. So for 25 years, she's accumulated all this pension, even though she worked for like 6 months. And guess who's paying Randy Weingarten's pension when the time comes?
You and me?
Taxpayers, baby. Taxpayers.
Wait.
I'm not lying. Hey,
Wait.
look it up.
No, wait. You're telling me that a broad who has not taught in decades and was only a teacher for like 5 minutes and is a union leader.
Let's call her what she is. She's a politician. She's a politician.
She's a politician. We're paying her pension?
Well, not yet. She
Why?
hasn't retired yet. Excuse me. She's still collecting $540 some odd thousand a year as a salary, but it's called union release funds or union release. Let me get that term again. Hello. It's called union release time. Look it up. And again, the Freedom Foundation uncovers this just recently. And by the way, this isn't just really about Randy Weingarten. We personalize it because she is such an anathema. She's such a politician. She doesn't give a damn about the students. I'm not even sure she cares about the teachers as much as she cares about the Democrats and protecting her flow of money.
The dollars. That's right.
But, right? It's not just Randy Weingarten. Any teacher who's part of the union, because this is that payback from the government to the unions, because what happens is the school board is still responsible, even if they're not picking up her salary, they're still responsible for her pension. And it's not just Randy Weingarten, it's any teacher that is out on union release time. And again, folks, let's be clear. We support the teachers, at least most of them, the ones that aren't teaching.
If you're a good teacher who's not trying to, trans the children. Okay, cool.
You mean mutilate the children?
Yes.
Mutilate.
Correct. Mutilate.
Right.
Let's call it what it is instead of using euphemisms.
Right.
Thank you for correcting me, Robert.
We're going to trans the children. We're going to trans them to what? By the way, did you use the word broad?
Yeah.
If I did that, I'd be called a misogynist. By the way,
am I not allowed to say that?
Well, I don't. You are. I'm not. Right. I mean, I go back to the days. I go back to the days of Guys and Dolls and Damon Runyon, right? And Harry the. There I go with my movie reference, right? Musicals. By the way, in my house, you had to deal with Broadway or sing Broadway musicals to survive. So Guys and Dolls was a big one. There's a guy named Harry the Horse at the bar, and Adelaide, who is the love interest of in the movie Frank Sinatra, and Alan Alda is it was Alan Alda in the Broadway play. I'm sorry, Robert Alda, Alan Alda's father. But Harry the Horse has a line that goes, "Hey Nathan, she's a right broad," right? So now that's such a throwback to the 50s, but the fact that you use that, I love that.
It's a good word. It's a good word.
By the way, the opposite of broad is narrow. So I'm not sure how those two relate to each other, but so let's see. Women are broad and men are narrow. I mean, we are two-dimensional as men. We're two-dimensional when we're linear.
Men are, I thought men were like waffles and women were like spaghetti. Great book, great marriage book for anybody listening out there. But no, I cannot believe that taxpayers are responsible for paying the pension of a person whose job it is to lobby against the taxpayer in order to fund their salary and benefits and the way that things go. So I have to pay you to lobby against me to get more money out of my pocket. Okay. That's why I'm against public sector unions to begin with, But the fact that that is extra insulting. If you make a $500,000 a year salary, honey, you do not need me to pay your pension.
Well, let's be clear. New York State taxpayers will pay her pension because that's where her pension emanates from. So it's state oriented. So it's taxpayers in general.
Still.
But across the country, understand, this isn't just a Randy Weingarten thing. This is a backroom deal between the Democrats and the unions that is being paid for by taxpayers across the country. And thank God for the Freedom Foundation who unearthed this. And by the way, very recent, thing. It's not even anywhere in the news. Really, I mean, if you search it, you'll find it. But it's just again, it just never ends. It's like it's like you're peeling back the layers of the onion, and you just keep peeling back layers, and you just find all the
more
crap.
Literally. Oh, it's like here's the termite colony. Oh, here's the cockroach colony. Oh, here's where the mice are living. Oh, here's where. Oh my God, next. There's gonna be dead possums on the back porch. Robert,
spoken like a Vermont girl, or excuse me, a Vermont broad.
I like it.
Yeah, well, I don't know which I would prefer. Randy Weingarten or cockroaches. It's a tough choice. Let me think. Can I think about that and get back to you?
You can get back to me next episode. We'll talk about it next time.
All right. Speaking of cockroaches, that's a good segue. Thank you. Speaking of cockroaches. Did you know that climate change is all the fault of white men and that all white men should be in jail? Come on. I left her speechless, folks. She's laughing, but
what did you do now?
Me?
What's your fault now?
Well, I have so many girlfriends. I can't call this one a girlfriend because she's, I think I lost interest in the 80s when she was wearing leotards. But so Jane Fonda was in Cannes Film Fest. So Hanoi Jane Fonda, right? Who now is older, wiser. Now she's wizened at 80 something.
She needs a new cause to tear people down with. Got it?
So what she basically said is that, first of all, racism is the cause of climate change. And racism is caused by white people, and therefore all white people should be in jail. And that's literally to a Cannes audience. Hang on a second. Let's get the line. Climate change is caused exclusively by white men, and they should all be in jail, arrested and in jail.
Well, but I don't.
Wait a minute. This is
how though.
By the way, she clearly has had daddy issues her whole life. She still hasn't gotten over them. So I guess she's taking it out on the white men, which by the way, just as an aside, the leading cause of climate, damage to the climate is China. I don't know about you, but I thought China wasn't filled with white guys. It might be filled with men. But it's not filled with white guys.
No, remember, Robert, Asians are white now because they're successful. So if you're successful, that's what they say. That's them. Those people. If you are an ethnic minority and you are successful by the normal metrics of like education, financially, or whatever, it means you are appropriating whiteness or you are white adjacent and therefore now white. So that's why Asian people, can be discriminated against at Harvard and all of these other things because they're too successful at education and getting into things. That's why Hispanic people in Florida who voted for Trump are white because they've bought into some lie or something like that. So anybody can be white now as long as you don't buy into the propaganda that you are a victim, etc., and so forth.
All right, so I'm getting flagged by Sir Benjamin. We need to take a break. We're going to start next section. By the way, we're going to China next section. So this is a good segue. But I'm going to come back to this because I'm listening to you going, I don't get it. But folks, we'll be right back. We got to go make some money, being the true bourgeois capitalists that we are. Stay tuned for segment 2. We're going to pick up where we left off. We'll be right back. We are of the people. You can find us on Rumble. You can find me on Twitter at RB Chernin. And
I am at Ericka Redic.
look us up. You'll be entertained.
That we guarantee.
Absolutely. She's never wrong.
Ever. Just ask my husband.
Hello, and welcome back to Of the People. I'm Robert Chernin,
I'm Ericka Redic.
and we are back. Ericka, I got to jump in to where we left the last episode, the last segment of this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand. So you're basically telling me anyone who's successful now is white. I mean, I know that's not what you said. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
Because I want to go back to this whole Jane Fonda thing. So let's hold the white thing for a second. So Jane Fonda says she's at Cannes and she says the foul. Here's what she ends up saying. And you just sit there and going, I mean, whatever she's smoking, I want some, right? It's good for all of us to realize there would be no climate crisis if there was no racism, and there would be no climate crisis if there was no patriarchy. And climate change is being caused exclusively by men, specifically white men, adding that those men must be arrested and jailed. I'm going like, I mean, you know, I know we call her Hanoi Jane, right? Because she was against the Vietnam War and all that other stuff. And, you know, she found herself in leotards in the 80s and teaching people how to work out. Of course, you know, I mean, plastic surgery, like 42 times doesn't hurt either when you're 80, whatever. But, you know, unlike, you know, we call her Hanoi, you know, Jane, but, you know, unlike true heroes like John McCain in the Hanoi Hilton for 5 years, I mean, maybe when real soldiers were in prison in the war, she was doing LSD or some sort of mushrooms or something, because I don't even know what the hell she's talking about. Explain this to me. What does this mean?
I can't fathom. Excuse me, Robert. I can't even keep my drink in my mouth. It's so. I'm going. What is that? I don't know what that means. It's like only white people, only white men. What? Want things made in factories? Want to buy goods and services that create pollution when they're manufactured? Because I'm pretty sure she probably has an Android phone or an iPhone or something like that.
And a private jet.
And which, you know, uses fuel and is
No.
like
she has an electric private jet, didn't you know?
oh my God, yeah, that'll be the day. Like, so it's just what is so funny is Hitchens Razor says that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. And no, we do not need a razor to tell us that.
If you have no proof, if you have no proof. By the way, if you have no proof, it's an opinion. And you know what they say about opinions?
It's like everybody's got one. Just like
there's a little lead up to that, but then they say everybody's got one. But
yeah, exactly. What is her evidence? What is she attributing that to? What is like?
Well, according to the article, she's done all this research and study, and she's now enlightened, and she realized that everything is connected. So by the way, everything that's connected is the following. All right, here's everything that's connected. Let's see. Sexism, racism, misogyny, homophobia, whatever, the war. If you really get into it and study and learn about it, which means that she's learned about it and you know,
she's done the work.
Subtle condescension there, but what do you think? It's still Jane here we're talking about.
Yeah,
so there'd be no climate crisis, and it's all connected. It's amazing. But look, I want to move on because you said something else because my comment was the largest polluter in the world is China, and China doesn't have white men. Now, I thought we were color coding, right? There are white men, black men, brown men, yellow men, red men, right? I don't know if I'm
Oh
supposed
no,
to say
that's
anything.
all racist.
Is that all racist? Okay.
No,
but,
it's all white and non-white now.
Oh, is it? Oh, so we're bifurcating. Okay. I didn't know that. We're bifurcating. Okay. But last I knew, Asians were referred to, yellow, and white men are Caucasian or white, and this one's black. I mean, look, I don't agree with
Right.
any of that anyway, because I
Right.
think there's too many damn labels. But China is, without a question, the largest polluter in the world. So, and
Yeah.
they're not. Let's call them non-white. So, how does that fit into all of this?
I think that
Because you said affirmative action and all that stuff. If they get in and they're successful, they're considered white. I mean, explain that
Yeah.
to me.
the idea is that there is this belief. Okay, so when you're looking at things like race Marxism, as an example, so James
Sure.
Lindsay is an excellent resource for this. He's got a great book out. He's got a lot of really great talks on this. But it's the idea that that they're really, in the end, it's not about color. It's about oppressed and oppressor. And that's really what the difference is. You either have the oppressed or you have the oppressor. And so if the original oppressor is the white man, right? So we as white people are the original oppressor as the colonizers of the world, even though everybody was colonizing everywhere.
Wait a minute. What happened to the Romans? What happened to the Chinese? What happened to the
Mongols?
The Mongols. What happened? I mean, wait. What happened what happened to the Ottoman Empire? What happened to?
Okay, so
what happened to
Robert,
Persia? What am I missing?
remember, time started in 2020.
That's good. It'd make me a lot younger then. If time started in 2020, then I'd be like, what, 3? I don't think I want to go to 3. Can I start at like 35? I want to start at 35.
Literally,
This is such crap. This is such crap.
there's this weird belief that like somehow the United States or the West is unique in the abomination that was slavery, indentured servitude, and things like that, which still go on today.
Excuse me. The Jews were slaves in Egypt. I believe if you read the Bible, the Old
2,000
Testament,
years ago.
I think I don't know if the Jews were the original slaves, but they certainly predate African slaves, at least on modern record. And by the way, all slaves didn't come from Africa. Just saying.
But again, remember though, Jews are white people now. Okay, so you
Excuse me, Jews back then were brown people because they were Sephardic.
Okay, that you
Don't
stop using
don't question
reason.
me.
So
This
is the problem.
Don't question me
You're
on that.
trying to use reason. This is the thing that people
First mistake. Oops.
literally, the one thing that is the kind of through line to all of these conversations is that none of it makes any sense. It's literally just people saying things and not having good reasoning behind it to try to demonize, separate, and cause chaos.
Demagogue.
That's all it is.
Demagogue, demonize, and divide, as I like to say. So I want to stay on the China thing for a second, because China obviously is in the news, and I want to get serious for a second. I know that's hard for the listeners to believe, but I want to get serious, right? So the Biden administration, right? It started, if you remember, that Secretary of State Blinken back in, 2021, I think it was August, don't quote me, had a meeting in Alaska with his counterparts in China, and they dressed him down about what a bad, and we were so ill prepared for that meeting. I think I even did an interview on either, I think it was OAN, I don't remember at the time.
Yep.
Or Newsmax about it, because they had me on as part of that. And then you go through the whole sort of, unearth information about China buying, the Biden family. I don't know if it extends to the president, but certainly the Biden, the Hunter Biden laptop, all of, Russian disinformation, of course, right? And then there was the spy balloon, and there were so many other things. China's buying up farmland. They're buying up all these corporations, in this country. They're buying up Smithfield Foods. They control the PC division of IBM, BlackRock. It's everywhere.
On and on and
Right.
on.
And so now we find out there is an upcoming meeting next week in Singapore, of, I think it's the Pan Asian nations. I forget the meeting. It was a security conference. And we reached out for China and said we would like to have a sidebar meeting. Defense Minister, I think his name is Li, Li, in China, and Secretary of Defense Austin reaches out, and we repeatedly try to get a meeting, and China basically said, yeah, no, we don't want to meet with you, and basically rebuffs U.S. overtures. And you sit there and wonder, do we really understand the power politics that China is playing in a geopolitical game? And if you look at their Belt and Road Initiative, where they're really investing in developing infrastructure in the third world, and let's face it, on some level, this is all prostitution, right? You're paying for services, because if you're building the third world country, they owe you, because you're lending them this money, right? And China doesn't care; it's state control. They can keep printing.
Well,
more
and that's
money.
America's been doing that for years. That's literally why people complain about us. So.
But it brings me back to, I don't think we're on the same playing field anymore with China. We don't understand the enemy. And again, we're not talking about the Chinese people. We want to differentiate. But you're talking about the Chinese Communist Party. They are vying for global hegemony. They are vying and competing economically, militarily. And don't forget, all the technology we get from China, right? Most of it. All the medicine we get from China. China, and by the way, did you know? China, a Chinese company, and it's actually Hong Kong, bought Tutor.com, which is an online service, right? It prepares you for college, all those other things. It's a U.S. company that was just bought, right, by a company in Hong Kong called Primavera Corp, right? It makes it sound like it's an Italian meal. And who signs up for Tutor.com mostly? The U.S. military people. Do they not see what's going on here?
What? What is the
The point is that China's at war with us. We were making fun of we segued from obviously Jane Fonda and white men, yellow men, China's the biggest polluter to a serious comment about China being at war with the United States, and it's a multifaceted war. And we're asleep at the switch. At least the Biden administration is. You got to give Trump credit. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Hold
I'm on a roll today. I'm on a roll today.
I am. I gotta back up because
Are you holding your head?
So Tutor.com is a website that the U.S. military uses for some kind of training purpose.
Educational training you can look it up. It's there for anybody to see. They were bought by a Hong Kong company. Yeah. Okay. And nobody gives a oops.
I don't understand.
Sorry. Ben,
we're going to have to bleep that.
You're going to have to bleep that. Oops. Sorry.
Mark that in the editing notes.
Sorry. It's one of those days and I'm on a roll. And
Robert, I'm sorry. So basically now a Hong Kong
company,
a company owned in Hong Kong,
right,
now has the login credentials.
You got it.
And the ability to track the trainings of U.S. military personnel. That's what I just heard you say.
Correct. So here you go. Princeton Review and Tutor.com are now owned by a Chinese company. Primavera Capital Group, based in Hong Kong, quietly purchased a well-known brand, which, by the way, was previously owned by a Korean company. I know we're not at war with Korea, and Korea is not at war with us, but it is a test prep company, an online tutoring platform. And Tutor.com has a long-standing contract to provide services free to active duty reserve and other U.S. military service members, Defense Department personnel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
How do we not have? Okay. I can't.
All right.
I can't even.
I'm sorry.
I can't
I'm
even
sorry.
stay seated, Robert. I can't.
Okay. But here's the point. Here's the real point: is that when you look at the multifaceted world, right? China funds the Confucius Institutes in this country, right? In
This
20
is
or
what I'm
30,
saying. How
20 or
do
30
we-
schools, right? China bought Smithfield Foods. They're the largest pork producer in the world. China's buying up land where it's allowed. China is
We're finding that they're working spies. Chinese spies are working for
police.
legislators,
Is that
Congress people, Dianne Feinstein and Eric
right? Eric
Swalwell.
who did Bang Bang with Fang Fang. I got all that right.
And so,
But
like, how is it that we are allowing that? Look, I am a free market capitalist. Okay, I am a free market capitalist. However, when we start having conversations where it's obvious that our freedoms, our constitution, and our country are at risk because we're selling it off piece by piece to the likes of the CCP.
Well, I don't know that we are not selling it off, because I don't know that I got any money from this or you got any money from this. But
Like,
they are buying influence both domestically and internationally to compete with America's position in the world. And I don't know if you
right.
remember, in one of our earliest episodes, I referenced a book that I have read that everyone needs to read. And I now happen to have the book with me. It is called, I don't know if you can see that. Thank you very much. It's called
Yep.
America
Yep.
Against America. Now, this was a Chinese professor, and his name is Wang Huning. In 1988, writes this book. It is an in-depth college analysis, and it's a political theory book, and he's analyzing America's culture and America's weaknesses. And one of the conclusions that he draws, and by the way, it's not necessarily Mein Kampf, but this
Right.
is what they're using to fight America, because this analysis is spot on. Let me just read you one section of this, because this will go back to our prior guest, Dr. Bruce Abramson, last
Yeah.
week.
Yep.
Spiritual crisis in America, right? And here's what they say. Today's university education no longer enables its subjects to grasp the traditional values that founded Western society. The development of the university in modern times is increasingly moving towards a kind of cultural relativism in America and spiritual openness. Implicit in this cultural relativism is the logic that there are no absolute values in the world and that everything is acceptable or unacceptable. Cultural relativism succeeded, new set of lips, ladies and gentlemen, succeeded in destroying the idea of Western centrism, but at the same time weakened the status of Western culture dominated by this spirit. University educations resulted in young people with no concept of the past and no view of the future. America Against America, right?
That was written in 88.
1988. It goes through the Bush years, goes through the Bush-Dukakis race. But this is what I'm talking about. No one does this research, right? And look, the problem is when you show up to a gunfight and you bring a knife, you're outmanned and you're outgunned. We as a country need to understand. And look, this is one thing that Donald Trump got right. He got a lot of things right, but he got this one right for sure. China is public enemy number one. And it doesn't mean you can ignore China. It doesn't mean that we can't do business with China. This is still realpolitik, capital R, small k. An enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So they're at war with us. We're just not at war with them. And we don't understand the nature of the enemy. I say enemy. People would say opponent or the other country. We can deal with this. But anyway, I'm getting the high sign, Ericka, from Lord Benjamin. Again, that we're really blowing through these breaks.
My gosh. Well, it's so thick, and I love that we're diving in to some of these topics, because I really think the American people, we really need to make sure they understand just to what extent China is a threat. And so I'm grateful that we get to bring this to light.
20th century was the American century. If we're not careful, the 21st century is going to be the China century. Folks, chew on that for a while we go make some capitalist money on a bourgeoisie break. I'm Robert Chernin with Ericka Redic. We'll be right back. America came into being based on a shared belief and a common set of values. Unlike other nations that were bound together based on common ancestry, race, or caste, we came into being based on a simple and shared set of ideals. That the power of government is based on the consent of the governed. That life, the freedom to live life on our own terms in our own way, free from government interference, and liberty, our most precious value, and the pursuit of happiness, which means we are free to pursue that which we choose with the knowledge and courage to know that nothing is guaranteed to us in this life. Those values, America was founded on these basic inalienable rights. Freedom to pray to God in our own way. Freedom to think and speak freely without fear of punishment or harm. And freedom to gather in our places of worship and in our local taverns. And freedom to defend ourselves, our families, our homes, and our neighbors as we see fit. The American Center for Education and Knowledge is dedicated to protecting American exceptionalism anywhere and everywhere it is threatened. ASIC is a 501c3 and depends on your tax-deductible donations. Please help us continue our fight.
Hey everybody, Ericka Redic, also known as Generally Irritable. Special shout out and thanks to our Of the People radio and podcast listeners and to our Rumble viewers. We've sort of had to give up on YouTube a little bit because they don't like the things that we say. So you guys make sure you go check us out on Rumble. And also while you're there, go ahead, click subscribe, follow Generally Irritable. You hear Robert and I talk about it a lot, and you might ask yourself, what's the difference? Well, at Generally Irritable, we're not just covering news and politics, but we're talking about how news and politics intersects with culture. We get to go to live events like the How Many More rally at the Austin Capitol, America Fest hosted by Turning Point USA, talk to and interview some of your favorite pundits, politicians, and podcasters to see what they think about where we are at in the American experiment today. Why do we do it? Because we believe that an engaged and informed electorate is the best way to save the American Republic. You'll even find cameos from our producer, Lord Benjamin, aka Lord Violence, aka A Darker Perspective. That's where you can find him on Twitter. You can find me on all of the socials under Generally Irritable, literally all of them. Twitter, you're going to find me as Ericka Redic, ERICKAREDIC. And most importantly, engage, because we need you to overcome the evil big tech overlords. You got to share, you got to comment, you got to like, you got to hit that Rumble button.
Hello, and welcome back to Of the People. I am Robert Chernin with my lovely co-host, Ericka Redic.
Hello.
We're back in quite a spirited segment last time. I want to say one thing, folks. Again, this whole China issue, we're talking about the one section of this book called America Against Americans, right? It's 1988, if you can find it, but it's worth the read. It is what the Chinese government is using to try to defeat America from within and also from without. But I want to segue, Ericka, because the one thing we talked about was just how they assess the spiritual crisis in America, and this does segue to the culture war or the cultural crisis that we're having in the country. So
yes,
I want to throw a line at you, and I want to get your reaction.
Okay.
On your cultural, right? Go woke, go broke.
All the way broke, all the way redlined, out of business.
Well, they're not all broke, but so Target has just lost $10 billion in market cap. We've touched on the, Queen of Beers thing with, Budweiser or Bud Light losing $6 billion of market cap. You've got what? Bed Bath and Beyond, who's now in bankruptcy, Chapter 7, right? They're going out of business. You have all of these now, and not all of them. There's several woke corporations that, seem to be doing okay, but more and more people are voting with their money in
That's
this
right.
whole culture war. And you go back even to Hollywood, which we were just talking about on break, right? The things in Hollywood and which movies really are bombing because they have this woke spin on everything. It doesn't mean everything that's woke is going broke, but doesn't it appear to you like people are finally
Yeah.
starting to vote with their pocketbook on where they spend
Yeah.
their money?
Yeah, and I am for it, Robert. I am really for it, and I want to take a moment. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the fellas out there, because I really feel like the men are leading the charge in this. For a long time, ladies, much to our own detriment, we have gone along with this idea that everybody's got to be included and inclusivity, and we got to tolerate everybody. And the whole thing is, if you tolerate everything, or if you say that everyone deserves tolerance and acceptance, then you have to tolerate things that are unacceptable. And so us as ladies, we've just kind of been going along with things and giving away our rights and giving away our safe spaces and letting people run roughshod over us. And it wasn't until the woke mob tried to go after something that is for the guys. It's the guy thing, right? So more guys.
Wait, what did they go after? What guy
Bud
thing?
Light. Bud Light. That is Budweiser is a men's brand. I mean, realistically, when you look at the
women
marketing,
women don't drink Budweiser?
well, they
I'm
do.
I'm not a beer guy, so let's put that out there. I'm a martini guy, as you might expect, right? I'm a Grand Marnier guy, but I don't Budweiser. Is a guy's brand, really?
You can tell by the marketing, right? And that was one of the things that woman had correct. That everybody, the VP of marketing, everybody wants to be mad, but it is known as a men's brand. It's marketed with hot women and sports and Clydesdales and really masculine stuff. And that's okay. I'm not offended by any of that, right? But the guys are not going to let woke brands take their stuff, demean them, diminish them, and call them names. Okay, so guys are not going to stand. They're done standing for it, and they stood up and said, "We're not taking your crap anymore." Middle America stood up and said, "We're done with you." And I really believe that created the groundwork for everybody to start standing up against these woke brands. And I'm for it. I'm totally for it.
So let me give you an alternative opinion on this, right? I hear
Yeah.
you. Not sure I agree with. First of all, I am the epitome of a toxic male, according to Jane Fonda. And if Jane Fonda had her way, all white men would be in jail, and therefore Anheuser-Busch would go out of business because there'd be no men drinking the beer because they'd all be in jail for climate change or racism or something.
That's right. That's
nonsense.
where you belong.
But yes, toxic masculinity 101. I have a different take on this. So my take on this is it was a bridge too far, right? So first of all, there's a study out there that says that, because let's look at woke corporations versus non-woke corporations, and there are some out there. I mean, obviously there's a much larger line of woke corporations, but they're all a question of degree. Like when Georgia came out, I think it was last year with the the voter ID and the Vote Reform Act, where oh my God, it's racist and it's voter suppression. Turns out that the turnout in Georgia in the last election broke all records with the new law.
Higher than ever.
So higher than ever. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? So, but a lot of the companies that came out against that, it's one thing. I think when they got into the sort of sexual, transgender, LGBTQ, ABC, XYZ nonsense, right? And those sort of gender issues, and you go after that, that's where I think people drew the line. Because again, looking at the numbers, there's a study out there, and I can quote you chapter and verse if you want to have it, but there's a study out there that did a 10-year study of 200 non-woke companies and showed that their historical return on investment was 364%, and the woke companies are 230%.
Wow.
That clearly shows you that corporations, the woke ones, are getting away from what they're supposed to be doing, which is make money for their stockholders. And I don't know about you. You know, you talked about Hollywood a little while back and what's going on. It's
Yeah.
like, and I'm an old guy, so I watch old movies, right? Mostly dead people. But Turner Classic, movies I love because it has all the old movies. But what I hate is stop proselytizing and preaching to me. Don't tell me that Gone with the Wind has these objectionable scenes, or don't tell me that this is racist or that. Just shut up. I want to watch the movie. I'll draw my own conclusions. I don't need you to tell me what to do. And it's the same concepts here that, the companies that are neutral. You don't have to be pro-conservative, by the way. I don't care. Just stay out of it, right? I don't watch
just
sports.
stay out of it.
Stay out of it. I don't watch sports to be proselytized or persuaded or to be preached to. And look, for years, I said to, when this whole Black Lives Matter, nonsense crap came out and everyone was kneeling or not standing for the flag, my attitude was simple. They have every right to do that. I think they should do it outside the sports arena because I don't tune into sports to see that. I tune into sports to watch a game, right? But they have every right to do that. But I also then have every right not to watch because of it, which is I haven't watched sports in years because of it. It's a shame. I'm a baseball guy. I'm a Yankees fan. Obviously, don't hold that against me. But I think when you go back and you look at it, just be neutral. Businesses are supposed to turn a profit. That's it. Don't preach, don't proselytize. And historically, the numbers now back it up that the woke companies do worse for their investors, and some of them really bad. Target, right? And those guys are the ones that forget about the ones that said the Georgia voter ID law was racist. That was a huge amount of companies. But I think when you start going after sort of the transgender sexual orientation, there are more than two sexes, and you've crossed a bridge with certainly flyover country. And by the way, that's where all the money is spent.
I was just going to say, Robert, what is it? Something like 80% of all retail choices are made by women. I think it's actually higher than 80%, but I don't want somebody to fact check and say that I'm a liar. But it is upwards. It's at least 85%. The majority of retail decisions are made by women, whether it is going to the movies, right? So what we're seeing going on in Hollywood, whether it's shopping at stores like a Target, like
I hear you're going to see.
Beyond.
Wait. I hear you're going to see Little Mermaid.
Yeah, everybody tune in later this week. Next week, we're going to be doing a review on Generally Irritable. So we're going to be doing a movie review on The Little Mermaid. Go to generallyirritable.com or on the socials and check out that movie review. And
by the way, just so you know, I haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it. I did see the original because my kids were young, the cartoon version, but this is the woke version. And it's going to be, by the way, it's going to be right up there with Charlie's Angels and Ghostbusters and all the woke remakes that frankly, just, I can't say that word. They basically were huge failures. And of course, they were failures because the audience were either homophobic or racist, or couldn't be that the quality of the production stinks. And therefore, we're not going to watch it. We know good entertainment when we see it. So I want your opinion on that when you see it. But don't believe the hype, which is this is a hugely successful woke movie, because it's not.
No.
The numbers, the numbers are in the tank, meaning that they're skewing the numbers, and they're not giving you the full comparison of sort of what it did. It's going to make money. It's not going to make a lot of money. But so let me know. Let me know, and you're going to sing it for me, right?
Under the sea.
Okay. On second thought, can I take that back?
Take it back. Take it all back.
I'm gonna take it back.
One of the things that's so disappointing really is if the actors would just shut up. If the producers would just shut their stupid faces trying to sound like oh, we care and we're going to increase our ESG score and look at how inclusive we are and look at how we're helping to trans the kids and progress the gay agenda and all this stuff. If they would just shut up and let people go watch the movies and enjoy it, it would be great. But it's this insistence that we, again, the 3Ds, right? Demonize, divide, and
Demagogue.
Demagogue, right?
Demonize. Repeat after me. Demagogue.
Demagogue.
Demonize.
Demonize. Divide.
The 3
This is
Ds.
what
That's what I got in school. 3 Ds.
We used to.
Sorry.
We used to be able to come together on cultural issues, and I think that's or on culture. And I think that's what you spoke to when you were talking about the sports, right? Like,
that's right.
We could
That's
disagree on everything regarding politics, but then we could come together and watch a movie or a Broadway show or go see a sports game. And it didn't matter who you voted for.
Right.
You didn't have to talk about, what new social agenda you were supporting. Nobody was posting black squares and rainbows across the face, right? Everybody just went to be Americans in those cultural spaces. And that's where we could build the social cohesion that kept this country together, that building of those American values.
Wait a minute. That's not where we built the social cohesion. That's where we sustained it. We built the social cohesion in education, in educating our children about
institutions,
how do they work, civics, right? How does it work? What things are great about America? We don't teach in schools what things are great about America. We don't teach in schools what things are great about for American history. We don't teach in schools the great things that America has done in the world in the short time we've been on the public stage. What we teach in school now are all the things that make America bad and racist and original sin of slavery and all that crap that we're force feeding down the throats of our children.
Yep.
So when you say sports and music and entertainment, I agree with you, but that's not what drives it. That was augmenting the culture. It's the edge. And again, it's what we talked about last segment with China's analysis. By the way, I understood this country better and I appreciated this country more when I went to school abroad because I was able to see my country from a third-party perspective, and it helped me to appreciate what I had in America that I didn't understand growing up. And I got a little bit of civics growing up, but not a lot. So just case in point for you, I agree, Ericka. But the culture, the movies and the entertainment is a manifestation of the culture. It doesn't drive the culture. It may exacerbate it.
Well, and, to further your point, if we think about the changes in America over the last several decades, right?
Right.
We decided the cultural movement of the 70s decided that it was better for women to be economic producers than to be things like stay-at-home moms. So not only are we not inculcating values through the school system and through our institutions, right? Because church attendance has gone down. We've now
precipitously.
We have now
removed religion.
We've removed mothers from the home and said it's better for them to be economic drivers. And then what have we done? We've taken those children and we've put them in the schools where they can then be brainwashed.
We've put them. We've put them in government schools. Let's be clear.
Correct. And so you see there's a correlation. If you look at the numbers between when we told women that their highest economic and highest spiritual value was in the workforce rather than being mothers, and the decline of the American, a decline of American exceptionalism. There is a correlation. I'm not going to go as far as to say causation, but I do think that it's worth exploring that more, that as we've broken up the traditional family, how much of that one decision that women should be economic drivers rather than mothers, just how much that one decision has changed America. I think it's worth exploring.
First of all, I think that's a fascinating topic. Secondly, I've seen The Boss's Job. I don't want it. I can't do it. Okay. Just putting that out there. Okay. So, and by the way, the person that need or people that need to do that study are women? Because if toxic men do that study,
Nobody will listen.
there's no legitimacy out of the gates here. But that's it. So I think, Ericka, you should be the vanguard of that study, and we'll air it. And I think there's something to it. And I don't know if it's relational or causational. I have no idea. But
yeah.
anyways, I want to end where we started because we're getting a high sign from Lord Benjamin here, which is go woke, go broke. The studies are out there, folks, that woke corporations do not do as well because they take their eye off the business ball. So for all you out there, because there's now also a conservative credit card out there called Coin Me or something like that. But you're voting with your feet. Keep the pedal to the metal. Keep voting with your dollars. Keep voting with your feet, and we'll see how many go woke, go broke companies there really are. And let's see what happens when they don't get that ROI to their stockholders.
Amen.
Folks, the last thing I want to remind you of is we are now on Podbeam and Apple and Google. So wherever you subscribe to get your podcast, subscribe to Of the People, download it into your feed or your stream. And as Ericka, as you said, rate us, give us 5 stars. And if you can't give us 5 stars, we're not going to break your legs, Ericka.
Boo.
Right. But if you can't give us 5 stars, we'd like to know why. That's all. And you can contact me at robertc@asicfund.org. And Ericka, where can they get you?
They can find me at generallyirritable.com and generally irritable on all the socials.
Sounds good. Folks, you've been listening to Of the People. I'm Robert Chernin.
I'm Ericka Redic.
And we'll see you next week.